Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hello and welcome to session 12 of Human Resource Management course. I'm your instructor, Dr. Shikha and Khera from DSM DTU. Students, this particular session we would be talking about very essential aspect of a human being, that is motivating human resources. We know that individuals definitely need some rewards, some compensation, some benefits out of the services they provide to the organization. And that is not only for someone who's working in the organization, but also for every individual to respond to the external environment in terms of their services and efforts. Some motivation is required. So what comes to your mind when I talk about the term motivation? It all starts with a kind of disequilibrium, dissatisfaction or a frustration in the mind, and that creates an unfulfilled need. Likewise, you are right now listening to me because you have some desire to complete maybe a course that you want to complete, thus you are gaining knowledge, you want to earn some credits. So there is some motivation to listen to this particular session, and that motivation will complete or may satisfy a particular need which is right now unfulfilled to earn the credits. So same happens with the individuals in the organization. This curriculum of motivation has introduction to the theory of motivation, the process, and various different theories by renowned researchers in the field of motivation, which was as a part of human relations movement added on to the curriculum of human resources and organization behavior. So let's begin this session and gear up to understand how we can motivate our subordinates as managers in the organization. So nature of motivation includes that it is the set of forces that cause people to behave in a certain way. What is the behavior? You are right now listening to me. This is your behavior. The employee should be punctual in the organization. That is his behavior. The employee has to be disciplined in the organization. That is his behavior. So it is the set of force that prompts an individual to behave in a particular manner. The goal of manager is to maximize desired behaviors and minimize the undesirable behavior. Of course, yes, every manager wants that the performance output should be as desired. The behavior in the organization when they are behaving individually should be as desired. When they are behaving in a group should be as desired. So all those do's and don'ts are already written down in the organization, and the subordinate is expected to behave in that manner, and it is the job of the manager to make him set right and behave in that particular manner. How does manager do that? Manager takes the help of the process of motivation. So here lies the importance of motivation at the workplace, which says that motivation, which is the desire to do the job, ability, which is the capability to do the job, and work environment, the resources needed to the job, together they determine the individual level performance. If work environment is positive, capability is high, skill, and the motivation that is desired to do job is at greater level, then we achieve the desired output. So this is the motivation process. We write it here. Here initially we all have some amount of need or deficiency in us. This need or deficiency, for this need and deficiency, for example, if you are hungry, so that is a need or a deficiency. You want to eat something. So what would you do? You will search for ways to satisfy that need, that is hunger. You will try to find food, right? Now the choice of behavior to satisfy that need will be different for all of you. Few of you will ask your mothers to cook for you, or you will cook for yourself. Few of you will go and get up a easy way out, that is a packet of chips to eat and fulfill that hunger. Few of you will order food from outside. So that is choice of behavior. Individually it differs to satisfy the need. And once that is done, that is, you have eaten the food, now what you do? Now you evaluate the need satisfaction and you realize, oh, I am full. I have eaten to the extent that my stomach is full and I am no more hungry. So that means what has happened? This need or deficiency of hunger has been completely fulfilled. And then we determine the future needs and search the choice for satisfaction. One of the most, you would say, critical aspect of need fulfillment is that as one need is satisfied, a new need comes up. So what does that mean? That means as soon as when you fulfilled your hunger, your need was satisfied, and then suddenly you realized, oh, now I have to get up and go to my office or go to my college, or I have to complete my homework, and you get then disturbed again until you complete that. Once you have completed that, then another need comes up, oh, I have to play the game on laptop, so let me do that. So it is a vicious circle, it never ends. When one need is completed, another need generates, and these need ranges from your simplistic routine needs to a higher needs, like when you were in class 10th, you wanted to complete class 10th and nothing was there in mind. Suddenly when class 10th was completed, now you want to have higher grades in class 12th. After that, in your graduation, post-graduation, then your office, then your family life. So it is so on and so forth until we are alive, we have this vicious circle of need going on. So the same is applied to the organizational members, that is human resources. This is what theorists and researchers have identified, that we have all different kinds of needs. Now the researchers try to identify as a professional individual, what are the needs at the place of work that we need to understand from a perspective of an employee and give him the desired desired environment or resources so that those needs are fulfilled and he is a happy employee in organization. So let's move further in understanding the concept. So as I mentioned, there are a lot of theorists who have given various theories on motivation and helped us understand what are different needs in the individuals regarding the workplace. So we have two types of theories, need theories and process theories, wherein we shall be discussing Maslow's need hierarchy theory, Herzberg two-factor theory, McGregor's theory X and Y, and then expectancy theory, goal setting, ERG and equity theory. And there is another path goal theory as well. So let's begin with Maslow's need hierarchy theory. What does this theory talk about? It says that Abraham Maslow in 1943 or a little before that did an experimentation and identified that we all have 5 basic needs, and these 5 basic needs are in hierarchical order. What is a hierarchical order? One after the other. So the first need he identified is termed as physiological need. Now what is a physiological need? It is the need for food, shelter, clothing. Why we call it as physiological need? Because students, as soon as a child takes birth on the earth, what are the basic requirements he has? He has the basic requirements of having food, having shelter and having clothing. So this is what he related to, that like physiological needs of an individual who takes birth in this land, similarly organizational members who join, who are the new joinees in organization, they also have their basic need, which is the base salary. So they want a substantial specific base salary for which they will come out of their homes and join your organization. So he said that On the organizational front, it is base salary. On the individual front, it is food, shelter and clothing. Then the second level need that he talked about is security need. Now here security means once you have food, shelter and clothing, what happens to us? We need a secure place. We need a home. So that home is the security of an individual to survive. Similarly, the security need corresponding to organization level is the job security. When any new joinee joins the organization and he has basic salary, now he wants that I should not be thrown out of job just like that. And I should have some permanency in the job, security in the job, so that I can be mentally relaxed. So this is the second need according to Maslow, that employees need job security, and along with that they also need pension plan. Then comes the third level. This third level was about belongingness, and we also call as companionship, or somewhere it is also called as social need. So what happens when we have job security at the place of work, or we have now a house? So at the personal level, you have a house, you have food, shelter, clothing, everything. So you need to be friends with people. You want people in life who can listen to you, whom you can listen with, whom you can go out, enjoy, or you want to have a life partner. Similarly, in organizational structure, you need to socialize, have networking, you want to have friends at work, and you want to spend time with them in cafeterias, having chit chat, having informal relationships, having interest group relationships, etc. So this, according to Abraham Maslow, is the third level of need that we all require. So here it says at organization level, it is friends at work, and at personal level, you need friendship or companionship. Now, Maslow further said that once you have achieved the third level need also, then you feel to have some amount of self-esteem for yourself. Now, what is self-esteem? This is also related to position. So Maslow said that we want job title in organization. Once you have worked for 10 years or so, you really want to be recognized as someone so and so at a position in the organization. And at personal life, you want your status in the society, that you have these assets with you, you have this car, this house, etc. So this job title need and status need corresponds to the self-esteem need as per Abraham Maslow. And Abraham Maslow then said that once self-esteem need is also fulfilled, you have achieved what you wanted to achieve, you have your own flourishing business, you have a very good bank balance, you have a family, you have house, everything is in place. Now what is it? Now the time comes which is related to your retirement. Now it is the time when you do a self-actualization. Now what is a self-actualization? Self-actualization means introspecting self and realizing what is the purpose of my life, why I took birth, what are the things which I wanted to do, which I could not do earlier. Now because I have now everything, I have achieved everything also which was worldly requirements. Now it is the time that I should pursue my passions, I should pursue my hobbies, or I should do the philanthropy I wanted to do. For example, if I wanted to teach students, so after, at the age of self-actualization, I should go out and see in villages what are the underprivileged students and I should teach them. Someone has a passion for painting, someone has a passion for traveling, someone wants to do some philanthropy as a doctor, someone wants to open up a charitable hospital. So all these are part of self-actualization according to Abraham Maslow, which is the fifth need, where we reach to the existentialism stage, where we have achieved everything. Now we are giving back to the society. So it is doing something for the social life. So this is the fifth and the last stage of our hierarchical levels. And from the perspective of personal life, I have told you the achievements that you have achieved and how you want to contribute to society. From the organizational perspective, you are no more getting a kick from the job title you are right now working in. Rather, you wish to have more challenging job, that is some new innovative project, you want to be a business entrepreneur, you want to be an entrepreneur manager, etc. So students, this is the input from Abraham Maslow. Now, why did he talk about these needs? What is the takeaway from it? The takeaway from it as a manager for tomorrow, you people, is that you should understand those who are working under you as your team members or subordinates, they also undergo these phases of needs, and especially the professional needs that every individual has. So it is your responsibility to find out at what level the individual is stuck. Maslow wanted to highlight that if you take care of these needs of your individuals pertaining to basic salary, job security, esteem, status, position, the employees will also give back to the organization in full spirit. They will have high citizenship behavior, they will have high commitment to organization. Now it is your job to identify the managers who are lying at which level and what motivates them. Let's move further to the next content. So this is the explanation which I have just now gave to you, that people must be in hierarchical order to satisfy 5 needs, and these are the 5 needs we have already discussed. Then comes the second theory, that is of Herzberg's view. Now this Herzberg's theory of two-factor theory of motivation talks about 2 terminologies. What are the 2 terminologies he talked about? First, he talked about hygiene factors, and second, he talked about motivators. So what he said, that in organization, all the things that you give to your employees can be categorized into 2 categories: hygiene factors and motivators. So for example, what will come under hygiene factors? The routine things that any employee requires for work. What do you require for work? You need a study table, a chair, light, fan, AC, stationery, printer, etc. And a particular title to work, your job role clarity. All those were the part of hygiene factors in the Herzberg's 2-factor theory. And then he said the other factors like benefits, bonuses, external perquisites, some appreciations, some rewards, some other financial benefits, all those will come under the part of promotions, were the part of motivators. So then he said there is a very important view of these factors. He said that if in the organization hygiene factors are present, okay, so that means you have light, AC, fan, table, chair, everything is present, then the state of mind of the employee is no dissatisfaction. There is no dissatisfaction. I am working because I have all the things to work. But if hygiene factors are absent, now what were the hygiene factors? Again, the table, chair, printer, stationery, etc. If they are absent, so imagine that you are working at your workplace and the electricity goes off. What happens? You are highly dissatisfied. It's very hot weather, humid weather. I cannot work in this sticky atmosphere. I'm not able to work without my laptop, etc., etc. So there is a lot of dissatisfaction amongst the employees when hygiene factors are absent. And then further he said that if in the organization motivators are absent, so that means not much of rewards, perquisites, etc. are given by the organization, then the state of mind of the employee is no dissatisfaction. He is working in a routine matter. He doesn't bother whether I'm getting this extra salary, extra compensation or not, but he is happy because he has hygiene factors with him. So these 2 situations correspond with each other. That means presence of hygiene factor and absence of motivator is the same state of mind, that no dissatisfaction. But what happens when motivators are present? That is good amount of perquisites, bonus, other allowances, promotions, driver allowance, children allowance, education allowance, etc., etc. Then it is highly satisfying when all these is present. High amount of satisfaction is there on the part of the employee and his performance increases by leaps and bounds. So what have we understood, students? Here we have tried to understand the Herzberg's point of view, that if organization is not able to provide motivators, at least the organization must provide the hygiene factors, because they contribute to no dissatisfaction level in the employees and they continue their work. And if possible, the organizations must provide the motivators to the employees because that contributes towards high amount of job satisfaction, which takes the performance to a greater height. Then few researchers, they did a kind of comparison between the two theories. They said that Herzberg and Maslow said almost the similar thing in different manner. And here they compared and said that the first three levels of Maslow, that is physiology, safety and social needs, they correspond to the hygiene factors of Herzberg. So that means in life, if physiological setup is not there, food, shelter, clothing, or in organization based salary, safety, that is job security and personal security, that is a hygiene factor. Companionship and friendship is a hygiene factor. If any of these is absent from life, life becomes very dull and boring. And because of this, its absence leads to demotivation. On the other hand, the self-esteem and the self-actualization or the status need corresponds to the motivators of Herzberg. If they are present, the employee performance is at a greater height. Moving further, students, let's move on to the third theory, which is McGregor's theory X and Y. Now, this is very interesting theory, students. Here, McGregor did a study on a good number of employees in an organization, and then he identified that employees can be categorized into two categories. And he said that there are people who inherently dislike work, who do not seek responsibility. They are very lazy, and they were categorized as theory X people. And then he said there are people who are initiating seeker, who have leadership qualities, who inherently like work, and they are the one who seek the responsibility. So they were categorized as theory Y individuals. And then further McGregor added on by saying that you as a manager have to identify that in your organization which employee falls into theory X category and which employee falls into theory Y category. And once you have identified, the treatment for both different kind of individuals differ. And what is the different treatment? Let us look into the text and understand. So here McGregor highlighted that the average person dislikes work and will avoid it. Most people must be coerced or controlled. Coerced here means punishment is to be given, coercion to be added on. And people avoid responsibility and have little ambition. They are in a status quo situation. Wherever they are happy, they don't want to grow at all. And who all are they? They are the theory X individuals. Further, work becomes a means to an end for them and they reinforce the rigid lines of authority. They are highly into any kind of creativity and satisfied needs are not motivators at all for them. They are very lazy and lethargic. On the other hand, theory Y people, physical and mental work efforts are very natural for them. They like doing work. Committing to objective will allow the full range of control tools to be utilized. So they are in high level of commitments. Commitment is a function of proper reward for them. They wish to achieve rewards, so they remain committed. People learn to seek responsibility and people have the ability to creatively solve organizational problems. They do not hesitate behind, they do not run away from the responsibilities, rather they try to solve the problems in unique manners. And employees need the freedom to utilize their untapped potential. This is the category of theory Y. Now what McGregor suggested, that have a carrot and stick approach. He said that carrot will be a bait for theory Y people. That is what we call in today's time a reward. So it is advisable to give rewards to theory X people, and stick, which represents the punishment, should be the part of theory X individuals. So we have covered till now 3 theories, which were the need-based theories. What were the need-based theories we have studied? Need-based theory by Abraham Maslow, 5 hierarchical levels of need. Need-based theory by Herzberg, 2-factor theory of needs, motivators and hygiene factors. And third is theory X and theory Y by McGregor. Now moving on to the process theories. As the term itself suggests, process theory means motivation is through a process. In the earlier need-based theory, motivation was based on having needs and completing those needs or fulfilling those needs. So under this, the first theory is expectancy theory. This expectancy theory was given by Victor Virome. And what Victor Virome highlighted in this theory, he said that every individual in organization has a personal goal. Okay? So there can be a personal goal that I want to buy a particular car of a particular brand. So we may say that, okay, the expected amount of that car is rupees 10 lakh. So that is the personal goal of the employee. Then he says that in order to fulfill that personal goal, the employee needs money. The organization can give that money in the form of reward. Fine enough. So the organization can keep rupees 10 lakh as a reward for some job. That reward will be given to only those employees who do some kind of performance, right? So that performance is also highlighted, that you perform XYZ, you will get rupees 10 lakhs. In turn, that performance is based on individual efforts. So that means it says that it is a process. The more you put efforts, the more you perform better. The more you perform, you get eligible for reward. You get the reward, you fulfill your personal goals. So this is something like, we also have a TV show which goes on like Kaun Banega Crorepati. So under KBC, what happens? It has a high reward, say 1 crore, 5 crores or 7 crores, which is something very much important for any one of us to fulfill our dreams. So that means we have personal goals that can be fulfilled by the award given by KBC, and there at KBC table in front of the anchor or in front of the concerned person who's hosting that show, we have to perform, we have to give answers there, and that performance will be dependent on the efforts that we put in, that is how much we study for a year or 2 years for answering those 10-12 questions. So this is a process to motivate to achieve the personal goals. So let us see in the graphic form how this theory is explained. This is called as expectancy theory by Victor Virome. And here Victor Virome said that the strengths of tendency to act, remember this, strength of tendency to act, that is with which strength will you put in the action, will depend on the strength of an expectation that the act will follow by giving the given outcome. So what does this mean? How much effort will you do? It depends on how much reward is and whether that reward is fulfilling the personal goal or not. Then only you will put in the effort and you will showcase the performance. So for example, your personal goal was to buy a car of rupees 10 lakhs and you realize that the organizational reward is only 1 lakh. So probably 1 lakh is not a big amount for you, and hence what you will do, you will not tend to perform and maybe you will not do any efforts also. So Victor Virome emphasized upon that there is a effort-performance relationship, performance and reward relationship, and reward and personal goal relationship, which is denoted here by 1, 2 and 3. So 3 relationships exist. If all 3 relationships are strong, then only an individual is motivated to perform. If any of these relationship is weak, the individual will not perform. So even if your personal goal is very high, but the performance reward relationship is weak, because if you have to perform for a year and then you will get 1 lakh as reward, probably you are not interested in putting that. So this is about the expectancy theory by Virome. Then comes Porter-Lawler extension of expectancy theory. In expectancy theory, there was one term as reward, the third point, right? The fourth point was personal goal, and this was individual performance, and this was individual efforts. Now here what happens, Porter Lawler came up with a thought that this expectancy theory can have two more dimensions where we can divide this reward into two categories. What are the two categories? Extrinsic rewards and intrinsic rewards. So he said that the intrinsic rewards will be more of psychological rewards, that is internal to individuals, self-esteem, feeling of accomplishment, etc. And extrinsic reward is in terms of tangible, that is awarded by external parties like pay and promotions. So he said, Porter Lawler team added on that in the expectancy theory, we must categorize rewards, because on the basis of the category of the reward, the individual will decide on whether he wants to perform or not. So for certain individuals, extrinsic reward may be very important, and the company is giving intrinsic reward, so he will not perform. But for some individuals, extrinsic reward is important, he will then perform. Same is the vice versa case. For few, intrinsic reward is important, so they will perform if the company gives intrinsic reward. Otherwise, they will not showcase their performance. So this is how the depiction of Porter Lawler extension of expectancy theory takes place. Here the performance is given, intrinsic rewards and extrinsic rewards are added to it. Now perceived equity. So what is perceived equity? That means that there is a balance between the two rewards and the satisfaction level is quite high. Now let's talk something about equity theory. Students, can you differentiate between the two terms equality and equity? I'm sure you can, but let me just explain these two terms. Equality is when we distribute equal to everyone. So for example, if I have 2 oranges and I have 3 individuals or 4 individuals, I divide 2 oranges and equal all the parts of oranges equal amongst all 4 members. That is equality. But is that right? If I go for blood test of all 4 individuals and I get a report that 2 of the members have very good vitamin C in them and rest 1 member is at the level which is required, normal, but the 4th one is deficient in that. So when I give both the oranges to the 4th one and not to the other 3, because 4th one needs that is called as equity. Giving something, bringing everyone at the same level is equity. Distributing similar to everyone is equality, but that doesn't serve the purpose. If we distribute equal to everyone, probably those who are already rich, they will get more richer, and poor will not even be able to match up to the level of that riches. So thus, equity theory of motivation plays an important role in organizations. Let us see what it talks about. It says that individuals compare their job inputs and outcomes with those of others, okay, and then respond to eliminate any inequities. Here we have a referent comparison. Referent comparison matlab one individual who is a reference point with whom we are comparing. So for every individual, there is another individual who is a reference point. So what this person 1 will do? This person 1 will first look into self-insight. That is how much effort he has put in. And then self-outside. That is what is the outcome he has got. And then other insight, what is the effort this person 2 has put in, who is a reference person. And other outside, how much outcome he is getting. Okay. So here, people are motivated to seek social equity in the rewards they receive for the performance. So that means they perform something, they receive the reward, and they want social equity in the reward. Equity, which is an individual's belief that the treatment he or she receives is fair relative to the treatment received by the others. Individual view the value of rewards, that is outcomes, and inputs, which are the efforts, as ratios and make subjective comparison of themselves to the other people. So as I mentioned earlier, self-input, self-output over others' input and others' output to find out if there is any inequity between the outcomes given to others. Now, what happens when a person realizes that probably there are some inequities which are going on at the workplace? What to do then? So then choices for dealing with inequity includes change work input, put in better, you should work a little better, make your inputs better. Change the outcomes, that is increase the outcome. This will automatically take place. Students, if you will improve your work input, your output will definitely be improved. Then the other choice is distort or change the perception of self. How you perceive yourself, you have to bring in change into that. That is why you are feeling inequity. Or distort or change the perception of others. So that means both these say that you have to work on some mental thoughts of yours and change the perception about either self or others to cope up with inequity. Choose a different referent person. That is also an option. Probably with this referent person, things are not falling proper and you are realizing that there is some equity going on. So please take up a referent person which is more rationally attached to your work. Leave the field, that is quit the job. So if there are adverse conditions and you cannot handle, then it is better to leave the field and quit the job. Further equity theory propositions relating to inequitable pay says that over-rewarded employees produce more than equitably rewarded employees. So this was one proposition which came up in the equity theory, that if you give inequitability in the pay, then over-rewarded employees will have higher performance. Second assumption is over-rewarded employees do higher quality of piecework, while under-rewarded hourly employee produce lower quality of work and under-rewarded employees produce larger quantities of lower quantity of piece of work than equitably rewarded employees. So students, what we can infer out of it, that if equity theory is not followed, if inequalities are there, under reward and over reward is there, then the performance is not as per the expectations. The under rewarded employees are always producing or are quite costly to the organization because they are producing lower quality, not only lower quality, and they add on to higher quantity of lower quality. So the amount of cost that incurs or goes into vain or waste because of their performance. Isn't it better to give them rewards rather than having wastage on lower quality? So this is an alarming thing which the theory proposes to us or suggests. So equity theory further says that there has to be two types of justice. So what are these two types of justice? One is distributive justice and second is procedural justice. With respect to distributive justice, equity theory says that distribute in a fair and just manner. Any kind of reward you have to distribute in fair and just manner. Procedural justice says that make a fair procedure to distribute this. So that means the procedure to distribute should also be justice oriented or fair, and distribution should also be fair. So let us see, it says perceived fairness of the amount and allocation of rewards among the individual. So the amount which you give to the people and allocation that of reward that is who will get what rewards. So there are three people, 1, 2, 3. So X reward, Y reward and Z reward. So it says that allocation to whom? and what amount to be given, that should be distributed with fairness. That is distributed justice. Procedural justice is perceived fairness of process used to determine the distribution of reward. So what was the process that you decided that X will get A amount, Y will get B amount, Z will get C amount? What was the process? So the process also should be very fair. So those were the inputs from equity theory. Now comes Alderfer's ERG theory. What is ERG? E stands for existence, relatedness and growth. So Alderfer then in another aspect talked about, this also falls into the category of need-based theories. Here Alderfer said that all individuals have core needs like existence, relatedness and growth. And these existence needs are the provisions of basic material requirements, relatedness is desire for relationship, and growth is desire for personal development. What he focused upon was more than one need can be operative at the same time. So this is in contradiction, little different than what Maslow talked about. You remember students, Maslow also talked about 5 hierarchical needs, and if you compare, you will realize that Maslow's existence need is related to the first need of physiology and second need of security, comes under the existence need. The third need of social or companionship comes under relatedness, and fourth, that is self-esteem and self-actualization, comes under the growth category. But here Maslow said that all these needs are in a hierarchical order. What is hierarchical order? That is one after the other. When one need is fulfilled, next need crops up. But here the difference is, Alderfer said no, if more than one need can be operative at the same time. So at the same time you can go for self-esteem and security. At the same time you can go for social and physiological need. So if a higher level need cannot be fulfilled, the desire to satisfy lower level need increases. So this is how comparison between Maslow and ERG theory is also done. As I told you, these are the first levels, the second level, and this is the third level connection. And Alderfer also focused on that each one of us as human beings, we are always striving for these needs. Next is another beautiful theory by McClelland. McClelland said that we have 3 acquired needs. What are the 3 acquired needs? He said that we have need for power, need for achievement and need for relatedness. What does this correspond to? Relatedness means that we have emotional connect. By nature we are emotional and we want to be related to someone. We want to call somebody as our relative, someone as our parents, siblings, kids, spouse, friends. So we have that inherent need to be emotionally connected to people. Second, he said that we have inherent need to achieve something, that is some completions. Completion of a project which gives a sense of accomplishment, sense of achievement. And the third need he talked about is need for power. Need for power is position. I have need for power, I want to achieve this position in society. But then he said that these 3 needs are in a triangular form. So need for achievement, need for power, and need for relatedness is also called as need for affiliation. And he said that not all needs are present in all individuals. Maybe someone has higher need for achievement, someone has higher need for power and others may have higher need for affiliation. So by this he wanted to say that there are individuals who desire for friendly and close interpersonal relationship and their focus is that only. Their life revolves around affiliation. While there are people whose focus is on achievement. They want to excel, they want to achieve, they want to strive to succeed. So it is their passion to keep on achieving. Successful target achievement is their aim of life. And there are people who are more focused to have power vested in the position. So they want to achieve higher positions. You can say the politicians, senior officers, senior bureaucrats, they have this focused need in them that they want to have more and more of power. So that makes others behave in the way that they would not have behaved otherwise. So by this, McClelland wanted to highlight that since we have three different kind of acquired needs, students, you have to understand this terminology. Maslow talked about natural needs that we have. McClelland is talking about acquired needs that we have thought of after taking birth in this world and going to the society and organization. We have acquired these needs and we are in longing desire to achieve them. So out of these three needs, many people are focused to have either or, and whatever they are focused on, they start working towards that. They start moving ahead in that scenario only. So for example, someone who has more of affiliation and relatedness need will not run after power or position or money. He will be or she will be more focused towards maintaining those relationships and must be contented with the amount of power and money that they have with them. On the other hand, those who are achievement-oriented individuals, they will always seek to go for challenging projects, innovative projects, will go for entrepreneurial ventures, or maybe they join some very renowned clubs and all, so that they can perform better and have success. This success gives them motivation, gives them the kick to move ahead in life. And on the third front, there are individuals, and these people may not, the second ones who are more into achievement orientation, they may not be investing much into the relationships. While the third ones who are, or third category, or individuals who can be categorized into power need, they run after the position, authority, and their name and fame in society based on that position. They want to have that power and position to make the rules, to control the individuals. So thus, they do not invest or may not invest in success and relationship. This is what McClelland wanted to convey through his theory of needs. So then further, it adds on, the theory of McClelland says that achievers prefer jobs that offer personal responsibility, feedback and moderate risks. So this is for achievement oriented, need for achievement. So this is their characteristic. Then comes Edwin Locke's goal setting theory. Now this says that if we want higher performance for individuals, so what is important? We should give them a goal. We should tell them the path, the goal, and we should tell them the feedback also after their performance. This feedback will enable them to do what? To improve on any gaps in performance that were there in the previous effort. And Edwin advocated at this point in time there is no requirement to go for what kind of need is fulfilled or not fulfilled in your subordinate. Only look for that whether the subordinate has understood the goal or not. If he has understood the goal, if the path is clear to him, half of his battle is gone. Now he knows this is the direction, this is the route I have to follow and this is what I have to achieve. So he will be automatically motivated. Then other things will not come into picture for his performance and he will perform better. So this is what this theory says, goal setting theory, that specific and difficult goals with feedback lead to higher performance. As you can see here, you need to have display of the goals, display settings changed on screen keyboards. So you need to see here that the goal settings theory helps in identifying what are the various relevant feedbacks that can help achieve higher performance. Then coming on to the process of setting the goal, it says goals should be having 3 characteristics. What 3 characteristics? That is specific, difficult and accepted goals. If they are very specific, then battle is done, they know what to do. If they are difficult and challenging, that gives them some amount of high stress, you can say, a positive stress in them to move ahead. An accepted goal means that they are ready to work upon it. Now the effect on the person of goals. How goals affect the individuals? It directs the attention, it energizes the individual, it encourages the persistency, and new strategies are developed with respect to achieving the goals. How new strategies are developed? If the goals are difficult and challenging, then new strategies. If goals are very specific, then they have direct attention towards it and it energizes the individual. Based on these effects, what will happen? The individual will perform. Either he will perform very high, or he will perform low, or he will perform moderate. It all depends on how the individual has perceived these goals. Whether he was energized by seeing the goal, whether the persistency was encouraged in him, whether he was able to develop the new strategies or not. Under these conditions, the performance will have its own different level. And once the performance has a level, say he performed high, then the feedback is very much positive, and thus we say that we had set the right goals. In the second scenario, when performance is low, the feedback is negative, that the job was not done. So we have to rethink about our goals. Maybe we did some problem, there was some problem is identifying and specifying the goals. And when the performance was average, the feedback is not goal may not be achieved properly. So with this feedback, maybe we have to see that which element of the goal needs some changes. Maybe not all the elements, but some elements of the goal need some changes. So goal setting theory, students, focuses on that goal itself becomes a motivation statement. The goal's characteristics become a motivation for employees to complete that task. So let's have some examples from industry for different types of motivational practices that take place. So first motivational practices is financial incentives. What is financial incentive here? Practicing offering bonus and profit sharing to the organizational members, that is employees, commission in the form of commissions, which is a part of variable pay, or performance-based pay given to the employees. These are motivating financial incentives. For example, we have a renowned organization in India, Infosys, which provides performance-linked bonuses, stock options to reward the employees for achieving their targets. Then we have TCS, our Indian organization, which recognizes top performers with annual cash rewards and retention bonuses for critical roles. So retention bonuses for someone who has stayed in organization for X number of years. Now, what is the impact of such practices? These are the practices. So, the impact is it drives the performance, it recognizes the achievements, it aligns employees' goal with the organizational objective. So, many of the motivational theories together combined can achieve these results. Second practice can be recognition and appreciation. The first one was giving financial benefit. The second motivational practice can be recognition and appreciation of the employees. So, publicly acknowledging employees for their achievements through giving them public ceremony of awards, certificates and shout outs. Who does this? Google. Google uses peer-to-peer recognition program like G-Thanks to allow employees to appreciate their colleagues. By this, even colleagues get to know what best or better the other person has done, and getting a recognition from the peer member boosts the morale of the team members. Second example is Zappos host monthly hero awards for employees demonstrating company values and exceptional services. So you can see what are these? They are the part of intrinsic rewards. This is also part of intrinsic reward. And what is the impact of recognition and appreciation? Impact is it boosts morale, it boosts engagement at the work, it boosts the employee satisfaction. As a result, the employee, all three reaches to employee commitment. Higher employee commitment. The third practice by which we can give reward is career development and training. So in this practice of offering opportunities for skill development, training, promotions and mentoring can be given by giving them opportunity to participate in various conferences, workshops and seminars. Their skill development can take place. Here we have example from Deloitte, provides structured learning programs and leadership development tracks for high potential employees. Second example is Amazon company, which runs a career choice program to fund employees courses in high demand fields. So here they give executive development opportunity to the employees. And what is the benefit of this career development training? The impact is it enhances skills, prepares employee for higher responsibilities, that is succession planning, and increases retention in the organization, retention of employees. The fourth can be work-life balance initiative. Now, what is work-life balance initiative? Students, we know that nowadays, especially post-pandemic, the companies have given option for work from home, or maybe there is a facility by the government in the form of childcare leave for the women employees, or maternity leave or paternity leave for both genders. So all these are the options where they can have a work-life balance. This gives them a feeling of connect with the organization. They feel that the organization is thinking about us during the hard times or during the times when we need this time at home. Flexi working hours, all these practices play a vital role in maintaining and retaining the employees at organizations. So let's have some examples for that. So flexible hours, remote work options, wellness programs and paid time off are some initiatives which balances the work life. In Microsoft India, it implements flexible work schedules and work from home policies to support employees' well-being. In Adobe, provides wellness programs, sabbaticals, mental health support for the employees. Now, what is the outcome of this? The outcome in the form of impact is reduces stress, improves job satisfaction and lowers attrition. All these three are the preconditions for having high performance. So you can see students with such initiatives, higher level of organizational effectiveness is achieved. Then the next practice can be employee engagement programs. Employee engagement that we shall be discussing in the forthcoming sessions in detail. But here, with the help of team building activities, some suggestion schemes and employee participation in decision making, we are trying to highlight that how well the employee is managed at the place of work. Neither is he overburdened nor is he underburdened, so that routineness, boredom is also neglected and some amount of challenge is also added. So like in Infosys organizations, Infosys organizes hackathons and innovation contests to improve employees in creative problem solving. Company like Wipro uses suggestion schemes where employees can propose process improvement with rewards for implemented ideas. So in both the cases, the organization is giving the employees a platform to showcase how well they can solve problems creatively. It enhances the engagement because it enhances the interest of the employee. It fosters innovation because creativity is added onto it and makes employees feel highly valued. Then comes autonomy and empowerment. So giving the employees decision-making power is giving autonomy and empowerment, which definitely boosts the morale of employee and highly motivates. Let's see the examples. The company's 3M, it encourages employees to dedicate 15% of their time for personal innovation projects. HCL Technologies focuses on employee-first culture where team have autonomy in problem solving. This boosts the intrinsic motivation, innovation, and job satisfaction, which is highly solicited. So the key takeaways include that motivational practices like extrinsic financial rewards and intrinsic recognition and empowerment, along with motivation with employee needs, combination of financial development and psychological incentives can help, and continuous feedback and recognition can help employee have high level of morale and motivation level with them. So this is, students, the bibliography that I have referred for this session that you can check in detail. I recommend that kindly go through any of these books to understand the nuances of motivation. This is all from my side and I close this session here. Thank you all for listening.